Okay, when I was speaking of stripping the leather down and stuff, you dismantle everything, which gives some people a heart attack because those bridles are like Chinese puzzles. They're like, are you kidding me? But anyway, how I was taught was get a nice tub of warm water, as warm as your hand can stand it, and simply just throw the leather in there. Now everyone goes, oh, well, you know, don't worry about it. What the warm water is doing, it's just like when you're taking a shower or a bath. The last thing you want to do when you're hot and sweaty is put oil on. You know, well, that you don't want to do that to the leather. You make it probably look shiny, but that's not clean. What you'll see is after a certain amount of time, it won't take very long, you'll start to see a gray haze form in that water. After a certain amount of time, let's say you do a whole bridle and you throw the whole thing and all the parts and pieces into the tub, then you start to see this gray haze start. Well, that's the warm water opening the pores up, releasing all of the sweat, the grime, the oil, the this, the that, and you literally take that strap out and it'll have like a gray haze on it. And you take a towel, a clean towel, and this is where the term stripping comes from, and you literally pull the strap through the towel, and then you hopefully will have a fresh bucket of water, and you throw that back down in there, and you keep doing it. And what it's doing is it's releasing all that dirt and all of that sweat out of the pores of the leather. Now after you do that, of course, the leather is going to dry out a little bit or feel dry. That's when you start addressing it with saddle soap, and you may have to do it 2 or 3 times, but you're not just working on one pair of reins, you're working on your whole collection of bridles. So by the time you're done with it, you go right through. Now some people there will start to say, okay, what about a little oil? That's fine. If you want to try that oil, just again, a little goes a long way. Don't go with the theory if a little's good, a lot's a whole lot better, because I've had guys actually come in with brand new bridles and dunked them. And then they say, well, all my bridles are falling apart. Well, they've rotted the stitching, or the stitching has come loose. And the first thing I do is I go, well, I'm going to have to let it actually take the bridles apart, and I let them sit out in the sun for a few days, and literally let the heat of the sun open up, get to that leather, open up the pores, and it'll literally sweat out that oil, and then strip it with the towels. But even after that, it takes forever for that to see itself through. And what will happen is, I mean, you'll resew a real oily piece of equipment, and you throw it in the jaws of a sewing horse, and it'll literally just start to spit out the oil. The way they used to process leather caused people to have the oil to soften up the pieces. Today, with the process of leather and the way how supple the leather is coming out of the tanneries today, if you use that old theory, you're taking leather today that is supple and you're softening it, and you're compromising the strength and the integrity of what's inside that leather. And that also causes not just your bridles to start to need repair sooner than later, but also your saddles, the seats in the saddles, and things like that. And that causes the breakdown of your equipment that much faster. So you got to be very careful on how you take care of the equipment, regardless of the price that you bought it at. You need to just keep in mind that you could be doing more harm than good. But during the course of the season, if you could just wipe down the leather with water and address it with saddle soap, and just to keep the sweat off your equipment during the course of the season, without having to go through that major thing that I was speaking of earlier, and that would be good for once a year. But during the course, if you just wipe down and neutralize that sweat, your bridles will last a long time.